there's all this girl math out online, and there's heaps of influencers and stuff. And I think it's easy to kind of get distracted by it all, but
Mm,
and trying to work out the good content from the slightly dodgy
yeah.
content. But there's really basic principles underlining it all and underlying it all. And I think going back to those basic principles, yeah, absolutely. If there's a way to just make those easy kind of less painful decisions early on that really give you that benefit long term. And no one really wants to think about super or savings or, even invest
Boring.
a little bit. Yeah. So try and just think about it as a way to invest in, I think, future you as well.
Yeah, I
Um,
love that.
yeah. And another way I really like to think about it is what kind of retirement do you want to have? Do you want to have the freedom to go on a holiday and go on a cruise and do whatever when you're, in your 50s or 60s or whatever? Or do you want to, what kind of things do you want to be able to afford? So if there's a way to just make those tiny decisions early on, it'll really reap benefits in the long run for you.
Yeah, that is so good. I just feel like as women, like even now, it's like spread the word.
Yeah.
Like let every woman you come into contact with know that there are options available. I think the more that we have these discussions, and particularly, it's funny you talk about the finfluencers and the girl math, and like I get that oftentimes it's a joke and there's entertainment content that goes out there and all of that kind of stuff, but I really have a problem with some of the content that's out around at the moment that just like hones in and makes light of the problem and
Mm,
doesn't offer these solutions. And yes, again, I know I've got to lighten up and it is entertainment and social media is not real, all those things, but I'm like, it is such a great way to connect with, a certain demographic, if not everyone, because we're all on bloody social media these days. But we really do need to be conscious, I think, of using it as a tool to communicate solutions and not just always make light of the problem.
yeah, absolutely. And I think, yeah, I don't know where to start with social media.
Yeah.
So many,
Oh,
there's
that's like a
so much
whole other
conflict,
podcast.
all sorts of stuff online. You're just like tearing your hair out. But I think absolutely, like if there's a way to use that in a positive way to get a really strong message out until there's better programs in schools, then I think, yeah,
Mm.
that's sort of what we need to use, what we've got at hand. Yeah.
Oh, I know. It's just unboxing a can of worms, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
So
so.
how are you going about building this? So how are you going from, okay, transition to lawyer land, which was
Mm.
potentially lots of consulting and service-based work? How are you transitioning into building this platform and getting this solution out there?
So at the moment, I've been doing B2B type work, so training employees in house and doing
Cool.
sort of new joiner type training, especially in like kind of women, um, more women centered type industries. But at the moment, I'm looking to build into a more B2C model, so training direct to women all over the place. And that's through building an online training platform. So yeah, I was lucky enough to join the StartMate program
Ah,
last
cool.
year and do their launch club program, which opened my eyes to heaps of technical types and all sorts of cool options to build. So at the moment, I'm doing that platform build, and then we'll have a really cool product to be able to help more women and kind of build community as well to make it a bit more fun and a bit less boring. Hopefully, that's the idea. Yeah, and see where it goes from there.
That's so cool. What was the StartMate program like? That's awesome.
Oh, yeah, it was actually. So that's a 12-week program called Launch Club. So that's their pre-accelerator program. So they kind of take people in that have an idea of a business, and through that, you get to kind of meet lots of different people in their networks and do lots of different trainings and yeah, learn a lot about building a business,
Wow.
which is cool.
Yeah, that's so cool. It's really interesting. I think that there is, I guess, back to social media, there's so much content around, but it's also piecemeal. I just love like some of these accelerators and programs that we have in Australia, that have, and I know StartMate has like really solid experts and, entrepreneurs in residence and people that you can tap into. So I'm always curious as to how the programs are and if they're worth it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth it, if you're interested. And then I think that's sort of their feeder into the accelerator, which is where they will invest in your idea. So,
Cool.
um, yeah.